tell it from Beyond's haircut. Going for the close crop, shaving his head. The stress is high, Atlas. There's a big step down to Challenger's career. But on the other side of the coin, Forever 8 winners, this is a big surprise they've even made it this far. How will they do? The promotion tournament, it starts now.
Yeah, it's underway. Champion select, and the Scion ban against ADD is something that we've all gotten used to. So thankfully, some things will always stay the same. But now, what does MVP take away? I feel like Sun is going to get a lot of attention when it comes to the bans, because if they've been watching Challenger, they know exactly what to do, and there's the interview.
He was lucky to have 2 bans against him in one game. It was often 3, Atlas. He is heavily focused here. He is also the most tenured and well-known player on the lineup, so banning him out is a bit clearer. Anivia, Zoe, Swain, these are the big champions that are very frequently banned against Sun. On the blue side, Ever8 probably going to go for something flexible. Most exciting thing for the fans at home is when they got to Challengers playoffs, that's when they started playing Kuma, who joined the roster in March. Young player, 18 or 19 years of age, I will confirm. His big thing is, when in doubt, he blind picks Xin Zhao. He is a huge Xin Zhao jungler. And with the Olaf taken away, this is a good matchup for the Xin Zhao frequently. Xin Zhao could very much be played. In fact, it'd be a surprise to not see it played at all today by Kuma.
Yeah, well, the Swain is going to be the one banned away. So Ever8 going to get rid of that one, meaning that MVP don't have to. We'll see what the final ban is, whether that Zoe is going to hit the bench or whether they stick to some of these junglers. Of course, Beyond, more known for things like the Rek'Sai, things like the Gragas. He's not an aggressive jungler necessarily.
And yet he was the only person to pick Xin Zhao in the regular season.
I didn't really want to mention it because it didn't do so well.
I would say Kuma has the Xin Zhao edge.
Yeah, I think so.
Beyond was doing some sick feeding on the Xin Zhao when we saw it.
Feeding.
Alistair will be the final ban. So let's see what this means for the draft. Kai'Sa available. And Kai'Sa Morgana was played in Challenger's Korea final before it was played in the LCK final. We'll see what the Kai'Sa priority is. The Morgana is actually the biggest ticket item. It goes first pick. We'll see what that means, as Kai'Sa Morgana still very possible to be put together by Ever8 if MVP don't take something away.
Yeah, potentially a takeaway from Max there as well. We know that he does like to play the range supports especially, and his Morgana has been very good in the past. But MVP now, with a lot of options, could go for the Lovers Duo on the bottom side of the map if they wanted to, but the Trundle is going to be the highest priority, and Beyond is going to lock that one away, unless they want to flex it up for ADD.
It's actually a blocker pick to Xin Zhao in some ways, because the chomp removing AD makes it harder for Xin to all in. And the reason that Xin Zhao is high priority is, if you get any sort of a vision advantage, if you have mid priority, and then Xin Zhao rolls in, doesn't have to use his E to gap close, he wins basically every 2v2, so he's a huge skirmish jungler. See what Kuma wants to do. He does default to Sejuani and other picks where possible. We saw the Jhin hover, remember guys, Jhin is still disabled from buying Rage Blade on patch 8.6, but still will probably be played at some point today.
We'll see whether it's going to be MVP that locks it in, because they were hovering for a long time. The Karma going to be switched over to, though, as Ian looks to be picking that one up, unless Max wants to have a bit of a soiree on the Karma support on the bottom side of the map.
With in playoffs, defaulting to Ornn, but otherwise a big Gangplank player. Gangplank banned away, so no surprise that the Ornn will come in as a safe pick for top. We'll wait and see if Trundle will be in that lane, but like you mentioned, expected to be a jungle pick for Beyond. Played a lot of it in solo queue. If they want Zoe, they need it now. If they want Kai'Sa, they take it now, and it will be the Kai'Sa Morgana lane that Kingstone Dragon X piloted to 3 match wins in a row to win that LCK Grand Final.
Yeah, in fact, Prey playing it in all 4 of the matches and doing disgusting things as far as scoreline.
Is that locked in already? I think it is. All right.
Okay, yeah, it is. So we've got a Vel'Koz, meaning that Max will be playing the Karma in support on the bottom side of the map.
You say that very, very triumphantly.
Oh, I do, don't I? It's Max. Sorry, he was the Vel'Koz support guy.
There's a very real chance it's going to be a Vel'Koz support, because otherwise, why wouldn't you be flexing the Karma for longer? It's kind of the weird thing going on in this particular draft. So we'll wait and see what it means. Zoe will be taken away. Zoe actually laned into both Karma and the Vel'Koz, so it doesn't necessarily give us any more information, but I'm not ready to double down on it being a Vel'Koz mid lane just yet.
In fact, all of these champions Max could play on the bottom side of the map. Maybe not necessarily in this meta, but Trundle used to be down there as well, as Ezreal's going to be taken away from Pilot. We'll see what he's going to hop on to.
MVP already marching to the beat of their own drum a little bit. This Karma and Vel'Koz first round is very, very surprising. The only Vel'Koz we see is an answer to the Azir, and there's a chuckle from both you and the audience as Kuma does have his pocket Xin Zhao banned away.
Yeah, I'm not going to be playing that one this time, and I think it's intelligent. Beyond, of course, like we mentioned, likes to play a little bit more of the disengaged style and doesn't want to be brawling with the big Xin Zhao in the jungle.
And again, there'll be a lot of things to explain over the course of today. Very real chance to see Everate again. We have a lot of pocket picks and pocket bans that these champions have been running. I had a weird and wonderful time watching through the Challengers Korea playoffs because they play the game a little bit different over there, even though it's in our same country. Jin will be the ban here. Funnily enough, we see hybrid lane against Kai'Sa a lot. You know what his favorite is? It's actually the Vayne. So we might see some Vayne play today from Everate and other teams, but it seems like Varus, for the much more safer choice, will be the solution here from Pilot.
Yeah, so Pilot's going to go with basically the Kramer choice here on 8.6. After the Rage Blade change, we weren't expecting as much priority on the Varus, but still did manage to get it, as Kuma thinking about moving away from the aggressive stance, unless he's going to play Peanut style on the Zac.
A lot of flex is still going on for MVP. We're still not 100% sure where 3 out of the 4 champions are going. Given the Trundle can flex, Zac will be taken. Zac very strong into low mobility, so definitely the Vel'Koz and the Varus going to be the 2 big targets there. Isn't quite the Xin Zhao, not as much brawling by Kuma. When it comes to a mid laner, pretty safe choice coming out, as we're still not 100%
I still
sure
don't know where
everything's going.
Oh, goodness me. Max seems to have his hands on the Vel'Koz, though, as Ian, a bit more of the Karma player these days. And that will be Shen, most likely moving towards the top lane. So here we are. It is going to be a very purple affair on the bottom side of the map.
And this does mean, because they waited so long, they can lane Karma into Talia, which is a very standard matchup where Karma can have lane control, can push her in, can keep her accountable, and stop the Talia from roaming. But the threats on the side of MVP are really only AD carry and support. Very real chance Vel'Koz puts out the most damage this game. Theory here is going to be about trying to bait out the Black Shield or trying to actually damage through it with the Vel'Koz damage. We'll return to that in the draft. But a very different approach, and when Morgana's support becomes first pick, first ban, that's when people have to go to the drawing board and come up with what works against Morgana specifically. And I think that's what Max is doing with the Vel'Koz.
Yeah, you can certainly chunk out that Black Shield very, very easily. So I do like the options there. One thing that I do want to talk about, Papa, is that you don't get to talk about MVP 100% win rates all that often, but Ian hasn't lost on the Karma this season. So excited to see whether he can continue that trend and move it up to 2 match wins.
Fans at home will be sad to see that the trend of lower threats is there. Tanky lineups from both sides, the support mid laner coming through from MVP, but so much is on stake here in the promotion tournament. MVP, a proud organization, may lose their spot, and it all begins with this.
Yeah, and you have to remember, if you lose this game here, you're waiting around until the end of the night, and you have to play in that losers match. So it is so important to get off on the right foot, ladies and gentlemen. Game number 1, our first best of 3 of our 3 best of 3 series day here for the LCK promotions. I'm extraordinarily excited to get into game number 1 and see what Everate winners can do up against MVP. Let's do it. MVP fans still very, very passionate.
Everate winners are already on some Metal Gear Solid style invades. It's the sort of play you make when you want to tilt someone Atlas. You go for a play, a level 1 that you don't see very, very frequently. Power Morgana at level 1 is long-range engage with the Dark Binding, especially if you're not expecting it. They will back away. We saw so many fights for Vision back at Worlds 2017. You remember that almost every level 1 was who can win the race to the second brush and bot lane to stop there being any sort of freeze at level 1. Everate, they were doing scouting that we haven't seen in competitive play in LCK in a while. They're going to continue to scout. They're trying to hold as much accountable, and you'll see that Zac is starting top side. Not sure if that was scouted out. Not sure if Zac actually pathed over the red ward that is down.
Yeah, Kuma and Beyond, in fact, both starting topside. Is Puddle going to be taken level 1, meaning that Everate winners want to probably wait before they do any sort of all-ins. Not going to give you a lot of lane control.
But it's also about the current meta, which is really getting to lane and who goes to lane, who goes for the leash. And going W level 1 says we want to win that race to level 2. When you're against a Vel'Koz support, if Vel'Koz gets 2 abilities before Morgana, Morgana really does nothing in the lane with just Puddle. She needs level 3 at this point, Atlas, because she went for the Tormented Soil first. So going to be a very high interactive lane where it seems like the pocket counter pick for Max is this Vel'Koz support. And that's why early in the draft when they picked Karma and Vel'Koz, I was actually from the start thinking support Vel'Koz.
Yeah. Max going to take a lot of damage there, though, as Hybrid's going to throw a shot through with the W. So does need to be very careful, very squishy on the Vel'Koz. Beyond is going to take his blue buff pretty comfortably.
I really want to tell the story of Ever8 winners, because again, a lot of viewers, they'll remember them as the team that wasn't very good summer last year. You know, the team that you would avoid because, in honesty, they were not very good at all. Now, a lot of those players, all their players, in fact, have gone. Keen went on to join the Afrika Freaks, was a finalist just a few days ago. Septed and Malrong, their very promising mid lane jungle duo, went over to the Royal Bandits, I believe, over in Turkey, joined the TCL. All their players gone. Their coach, in fact, has changed games. Actually not involved in League of Legends anymore, but still is involved in Korean esports. The whole new lineup, they did not rampage through. They were not the second-place team in the regular season at all. Just seeing a little bit of brawling here. They finished 5th overall, Atlas, and before this season, that actually wouldn't have even qualified them for the Challengers playoffs. But the change in format was the first-place team in Griffin went straight through to this tournament, and then 2nd through 5th played. So the 5th place team, coming in as lowest seed, actually won the playoffs. They've looked a lot better recently, and now's their chance to peak right at the right time and make it to LCK anyway.
Yeah, and they've certainly had the most competitive practice on 8.6 as well. I mean, given the fact that they did manage to run up through that gauntlet, probably the team with almost the most at this stage.
But isn't it surreal that a team that finished 5th, 5-9, 14 game wins, 20 game losses, a -6 record in Challenger is actually up here in the promotions and could just ignore the history, win 2 matches, and they're in the LCK.
Yeah, back in once again for another summer. Completely different names, but still the same story for this organization. So far, if we have a look down the map, you saw Ian actually getting some really good trades up against Sun in the mid lane. But CS is not going to tell that story. Max does manage to land the Comet and the Q. Doing some geometry down here.
Some fun rune choices to talk about. ADD has gone Klepto on the Shen. We'll hold the point as Beyond is spotted.
Yep.
I'll back away. Klepto Shen's a big favorite of Flandre over in the LPL for Snake. Whenever he's in a tank matchup as Shen. Shen versus a low-impact laner like the Ornn. We'll go Kleptomancy and Q auto attack. We'll proc that, try to get the gold generation going. We'll see if he goes full Flandre, because full Flandre includes Sunfire, Cape, and Trinity Force on the Shen, bringing that one back, so we'll wait and see. You'll notice that Max has not gone Unsealed Spellbook, but has Cleanse from level 1. Theory there is, if he gets hit by the Dark Binding, he's dead, but if he can Cleanse and move back, potential to all in, as Beyond's getting invaded.
Speaking of which, yeah, Kuma is going to bop him back, but does get the Pillar of Filth down. Oh, brilliant. It is actually the Pillar of Filth here as well, with the traditional skin, but it does mean that Ever8 winners are going to be getting a successful invade onto the Raptor camp.
But it's all about Cleanse, Flash, Ult, and then Morgana's Black Shield likely on cooldown, and Vel'Koz is all in killing someone, or the target that isn't actually wearing the Black Shield. So that's why it's Cleanse from level 1. It's all about the turn here on the support Vel'Koz.
Well, MVP still playing this lane pretty comfortably. Down here towards the bottom side, Hybrid having used that W just to farm. They want to be as careful as possible. 35 to 47 means the Pilot's certainly having a great time. And Ian, that was very satisfying. Thank you very much for being good at picking up minions in the mid lane. Beyond, though, is going to be able to clear out this control ward, but good information given over to Ever8 winners. The early game has been pretty slow, pretty calm, pretty collected, and no one really wanting to make that first move when there is so much on the line.
While it's double elimination this tournament, that's a lot of damage. Don to Max. While it's double elimination, you already mentioned it, having to play again today is pretty damn awful, Atlas. Having to sit there, lick your wounds, watch another best of 3, and then play. It's a really bad feeling. So that's why, predictably in Game 1, everyone's playing very, very respectful. No one wants to play again tonight between MVP and Ever8 winners.
Well, now MVP are going to be able to get that shove towards the bottom side, meaning that Beyond able to get some Rift Scuttle vision. They've got great vision down this river. We talk about Talia wards all the time. It's not necessarily the standard ones, as they should be in the enemy jungle, but otherwise still very, very good, understanding exactly where everyone is. Trade's going okay up here towards the top side, and when you look at Kleptomancy, you have to think that ADD is going to be feeling really good, being only a few CS behind, especially when Ornn can farm so well.
If we think about the comps a little bit more traditionally, or what they're built for in terms of 5v5, MVP, when you have a Karma mid and a Varus, you can say very early, yep, this one's going to be very much about the mid-game fights. Put down the Subjugate onto the first person and then just try to kill them with the Varus and the shielding coming through from the Karma. But also consider that if this game goes longer, not so much about damage threats, but look at how long the engage range is from Everate. The Call of the Forge God, massive engage range. The Zac, if he's not going to be coming out of a ward, very hard to spot. Talia flying in. If you fall behind in vision control, you got bigger problems than just your team comp. There's so much to respect from Everate that you really want deep vision. You crave it if you're MVP. Because if you can make the Zac and the Ornn accountable, your life is a whole hell of a lot more safe.
Yeah, and I mean, if you catch Lucifer as MVP, literally all 4 of the rest of the team can be there from more than a screen away. So you're exactly right. It will be very scary navigating late game fights for MVP. But I do like what they've got as far as the Protect the Varus composition. Does work well with the Stand United, as well as Beyond being able to control space with his pillar, not to mention Ian just buffing him up with all of his options as well.
And honestly, I think one of my big failings as an analyst, or the thing that I look back and have workshopped a lot is...
You're great. Don't
look,
worry about it.
I had some good moments. There was some down ones as well, as really evaluating how strong Karma is in this meta, and Karma mid lane in particular. I feel like that's been the hardest one for me to appreciate, because a lot of the analysis that would have worked a year ago, 2 years ago about, well, she doesn't really do much damage later, but she got some 6 shields, the AD carry can have a fun time, is still true, but I think I underrate just how powerful the shielding and speed up is in a meta where the AD carry is by far the MVP. The strongest member of your team at any moment is the AD carry. It feels like everything in the game currently plays around AD carry strength, so having low cooldown massive shields is stronger at this point in the meta than I think it has been for multiple years, since maybe 2015 when Lulu's support was running around. So while I still do like Everate in the late game, I feel like I will continue to underrate Karma at my own peril.
Well, I mean, talking about underrating Karma, it's going to be the Kuro special as well coming out from Ian. Looks like he is going to be putting together that banner of command. Try and get this shove on, and it was into Talia last time we saw that as well, just to make sure that she has to stay in the lane, not doing Talia things and leaving and impacting the rest of the map. So see whether it works out as well here for MVP as it did for the Afrika Freaks.
So going to be the Rageblade rush coming through. Still no agreement on the Kai'Sa build, but Prey was going for Rageblade first at every opportunity. We'll see where the item build goes. When I was watching Hybrid and his opponent AD carry in the Challengers final, that was before the LCK final, 1 day before, and that was still Essence Reaver. That's the ult hitting.
Yeah, ult is going to land. Black Shield comes down as Hybrid looking to go aggressive, throws down the Killer Instinct, but he's gone the wrong direction. Beyond is going to easily pick that one up. He was definitely dead, just may as well try and do what he can. Didn't use his summoner spell.
And you just see the power of Vel'Koz. You remember the last time Morgana support was in the meta before. The question always was, how much magic damage do you have to blow through the shield? Because it's not a mid lane Morgana. The damage value is going to be a lot lower. It's not going to be a 600 magic damage shield. It's going to be 100, 200 in the early game. Vel'Koz does so much damn damage with Comet that you can actually burn it so early that you get the kill anyway. No black shield value. Like to see the counter pick, and nice play from MVP.
Yeah, I'm going to see it one more time as well, as that is the very edge, and immediately just one Q and he gets rid of the shield.
A Q takes it down, the Comet and a W will take it down. That's the power of the Vel'Koz in the 2v2 and also in the team fight. Vel'Koz has a lot of damage, take him down his top lane.
Whoa, that's a lot of geometry, but ADD is going to get past it. Doesn't have the dash to get over the wall, but it goes down. Teleport comes in from Ian, and he is going to be able to save his top laner. There are a lot of R buttons pressed, but no joy as far as the kills.
And there was no D or F button pressed by ADD. He didn't even have to flash through that. Keeps everything up. The ultimate going criminally wide there by Wu Fei. So nothing gained topside after MVP get a big lead in bot.
Yeah. Going to be more damage coming down here, though, as the W is blocked by a minion, thankfully. Max is going to survive. Killer Instinct wasn't available, so Hybrid couldn't chase him down anyway.
I think it's important for us to ask a very topical question.
What's the question, Papa?
What is your history with the Killer Instinct franchise?
I don't have much of one.
You didn't play it on Super Nintendo?
I played a bit of it, but I was just never very good at fighting games.
Name a Killer Instinct character.
I don't know any.
Full Gore, I remember that one.
Oh my goodness.
What's another Killer Instinct character? That's the only one I remember, unfortunately. Oh, I'll work on it.
I feel like I was a bit of a purist, though, like as far as the fighting games that I played. I feel like everyone has their fighting games. It's like, are you a Killer Instinct guy, for example? But Street Fighter, Tekken, Soul Calibur, you know, like, you grew up with, like, one of these games, and so you just, like, you're weirdly attached to, like, a specific one.
I don't think a lot of our viewers grew up with Killer Instinct. That's like 1993. And our metrics say that some of our viewers are a little bit younger than our 30-ish age, Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, 1993, you can almost play in the LCK. Give it a year or two. Oh, God. We're getting old, Papa.
We are.
It's one of those times where we have to have another conversation about us getting old. But as we did talk about it, not a lot happened around the rest of the map. The sun continues to shove forward. Ian doesn't quite have his banner of command back off cooldown.
Might be a bit more on point with the evolution timings. Prey was the first AD carrying competitive I've seen, and honestly, just watching solo queue, that was actually going for the E evolve before the Q evolve. So it wasn't going for the 100 AD, it was going for the 100% attack speed. Wait and see.
And the invisibility as well, helping out.
That's the reason why you go for it, yes. The real power in being able to dodge in and out of team fights with the invisibility camouflage mechanic. No Rage Blade yet, after going down in lane, but I believe that'll be picked up now. Laning with most of a Rage Blade against a completed Rage Blade is among the worst things in League of Legends, so needs to go pick up that shot. We'll fall further behind in CS, though, or Hybrid in the bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, 30 CS already the lead here for Pilot, who's having a pretty comfortable time. And when the AD carry is doing super well in a just get behind the AD carry composition, MVP must be feeling brilliant. We've got a lot of damage going down. This actually could be the turret falling as the geometry is on point there for Max.
And Hybrid's given up. He's packed up shop. He's gone top lane and is trying to lane against the Shens. They had enough of the 2v2 laning phase. Not often do you see this change happen when summoners are up, but Wu-Fei's still here. They're trying to return. They didn't get the flash last time, but they're going for it
If
now.
at first you don't succeed, send everyone top lane to try and get the work done, as ADD still holding onto the flash. And there's the killer instinct coming down. He gets into the pit, and all of the geometry once again on the side of Ever8 Winners is not going to land. Ian, can he get the Inspire Shield on top of him? I don't think so, as ADD lasts for a long time, but eventually falls to the auto attack of the Tilia.
Man, ADD had to run away from 4 enemy champions, and a damn Rift Herald was aggroed as well. Finally goes down, but it's a massive investment. All that really does is force ADD to roam bot lane a little bit earlier because he doesn't have teleport to get to lane. Getting Hybrid out of the 2v2 seems like a big priority for Ever8.
Yeah, ADD almost able to pick up his Titanic Hydra as well, so we'll be able to shove out the lane against the Ornn very, very effectively, very, very soon. In fact, has just completed it now as he's in the Death Chamber.
I like how MVP are playing this. They're going for a very early banner of command. Once again, there's a tier a little bit earlier than we saw from Kuro in the semi-final, but still going to be a very similar build. And they're just playing through mid lane because look at the mini-map. A lot of control wards will put top side. There's no real mini-map control. You've got a banner of command. Play to what you have, which is rush down mid lane. You've got Karma. You're very, very safe. Don't try to fight for vision when your Shen is dead.
And now it's just going to be all of these turrets falling one after the other. You saw the mid lane outer turret for Ever8 is very, very low. Now Ever8 Winners trying to hold on to this top lane outer turret, which is the next option for Pilot to go and beat on. Carrying out control wards here as well. So MVP switching the focus, and we'll see whether this means that the Rift Herald will be opted into. See blue pings at least towards the top side of the map.
Saucer's Shoes, the early rush from Max once again, reminding you he has picked Vel'Koz's support in this game in the first round to DPS through the Black Shield. He's trying to trivialize that ability. When we saw the leveling for Lucifer, he actually put 4 points into his Q. That's pretty normal. He's actually maxing W second, or at least had 2 points in early, try to help with the push, which clearly didn't work. He needs as many points into the Black Shield as possible, because he very much needs to stop the Vel'Koz, trivializing the CC immunity.
Well, in goes Kuma, and he is going to get the bonk together as well. Kidnap his successful Pilot in so much trouble, but the Disintegration Ray doing so much work. Gets rid of the Kaiser, as now we've got the Call of the Forge God. Does get one as the bootback comes in. Really good use of the ultimate there from Beyond to keep himself alive, and the action continues. Knock-up avoided with the flash there as Max almost managed to lock down the kill, but it's a 1-for-1 in the end. AD carries falling. No, 1-for-2 as Lucifer did fall in amongst all of that as well.
MVP still trying to push in.
Yeah, Wu-Fei's going to get the knock-up as ADD. Can he actually get out? No. The dodge field not enough as Ian's still trying to throw Qs through, and that's going to mean it is, in the end, that 2-for-2 trade towards the top side, but everyone losing health bars.
And honestly, it always becomes a bit of a fiesta when the 280 carries are dead in this meta, because everyone's like, are we strong? Are we weak? I don't know. We're doing all right. They tried to walk up there, ADD. He didn't have a flash. Honestly, a mispositioning error. He will go down and ends up being pretty even, all things considered.
Yeah. Pilot fell so immediately in that fight, but it did look very, very good for Ever8 Winners. Really need to give some props to MVP for answering strongly. Stand United was invested, though, as ADD. No teleport, no ult. He'll be heading towards the top side of the map now as Hybrid takes up shop on the bottom. Got an Ocean Drake as number 2.
Seems there's going to be another Supercharger focused evolve first from Hybrid. Right now he's sitting on, I believe it's 60% attack speed from items. You can get up to 18 from the Legends Mastery, Legends Alacrity I believe it's called. It goes up to 18%, so we'll wait and see. Azeel won't do it, but Azeel and another Dagger, assuming he has enough last hits and harass, I believe will be enough. And of course, when we see him going invisible, we'll get the full confirmation.
Yeah. Well, do you actually see someone go invisible?
Thankfully, with our ability to sit back and look at the minimap, we get that little ability. Thank you, Riot Games. You took away our 2 Shens, but we can see invisible things.
Amazing. E8W getting some work done here on the top side of the map as we do have the switchback. And the Ocean Drake will now at least be opted into by MVP, looking to build up that potential Elder Drake later in this game to be as big as possible. As it stands, 3,000 gold is the lead approximately for MVP. LCK team doing well, especially in the farm regard, and that Kleptomancy also helping things out.
If you're a new viewer, remember, guys, we are in the promotion tournament. We have the 2 lowest placed teams from the LCK, the 2 top teams from Challenger, going for 2 spots at the end. Double elimination today. Look at our new technology.
Oh,
we can see who was doing the sick damage. Spoilers, it was the Talib.
Yeah, wasn't so much the bottom lane of Ever8 winners, though. So not quite working out. Beyond also just probably got a pillar in there. Talia did do a bunch of work. You're exactly right. The flickback's there from Sun. And he is the star player here for Ever8 winners. He is the one that we need to be looking at. Try and get things working. Already a really interesting build with the rush on the Luden's Echo.
Something a little bit different. There's been a couple of nerfs towards Archangels and future ones, I believe, on patch 8.7.
Yeah.
Look at the enemy team. It's not really about diving the enemy at all compared to Ever8, which is truly about backline dive. So he's just feeling like, well, I probably won't need the shield, I need the damage, and that's why he's gone for the Lucas.
Well, speaking of shields, Black Shield onto Kumu, does pull back Max, gets knocked up with the Call of the Forge God, the ultimate comes in from ADD, gets a good pop-up, but it's not quite enough. ADD does make it into the fight, though, as Kuma gets dropped down to the Bloblets, and now the Weaver's Wall to come in. Can we actually get any work done here? As no, Sun maybe a little bit over-aggressive, as the Bloblets do get taken down, and half health on 2 members of Ever8 winners as well.
Max, no doubt frustrated. He was about 3 seconds away from Cleanse being available. Is available now. No use to him this time. They back away. It's a positive trade overall, though. You'll take the jungler for the support any day of the week. Ever8 already getting a little bit desperate. They're really trying to push forward. While we don't have a lot of ability power yet on Ian, the shields are still there. They'll take Max for now, but doesn't really change anything about the map state for Ever8 or MVP.
Yeah, I love what Max is doing as well. Just straight up damage. Doesn't care. Happy to take the focus in these fights as well. We'll be stacking that tier. Looks like the Archangel should be coming in relatively soon, and the shield is going to be very, very helpful.
And honestly, his role, as we've defined already, is pretty clear. So he's saying, I'm going to build an Archangel, so I've got Cleanse. If you dive me, I'll have a shield and the ability to reposition and get out of CC. And I will ult you for relevant damage. So the build definitely follows. No health in the build. He's going to be very, very squishy outside of situational tankiness on the eventual shield. But Max knows his role. Ever8 need to be very, very careful, because these comps, similar to what Kingzone was running from Ever8, are all about hybrids positioning in team fights. If he dies, the comp largely falls apart.
And at the moment, he's died twice as well, and that's 50% of the deaths there for Ever8 winners. So does need to step it up. Morellonomicon completed now for hybrid. Was wondering what that second item was going to be. Whenever it's a Blasting One Amp Tome, I always just assume that it's a Void Staff, which is a little bit silly. Can be a lot of things. Thought maybe Leandri's could have been coming in, but no, it's going to be Morellonomicon to continue with a lot of high damage coming out from Sun.
Pretty obnoxious healing, depending on the build path coming through from Ian, so being able to cut down on Trundle as well is a big priority there. So I imagine we will see Morellonomicon on both sides, depending on how supportive Karma's build ends up being.
Partly with the second item, Blade of the Ruin King, coming in as well.
Not been the normal build recently. A lot of people preferring to go the Kramer route of IE and maybe a Rapid Fire Cannon, a more normal build, with the power of Rage Blade and the percentage AD being so useful as the game goes on.
Yeah.
It does give him some hope in hell at killing Wu Fei and Kuma in the front line. So you understand the theory?
Yeah, Morellonomicon actually frustrating now as well, because he builds early lifesteal. This particular option, but does have the Merc Treads as well. You can see Pilot really making sure that he's not going to get Dark Bound and destroyed. As Sun, a little bit sneaky, looking for a fight in the mid lane by the looks of things, as MVP really want to take down this turret and open up the map for themselves.
And we mentioned already MVP's game plan of subjugate a tank in the front line, Beyond is really, really on board here. He's already gone into the Zeke's Convergence, a big item in EU that came to LCK. We've seen it once before. That means that the first target that's ulted near Pilot will have less armor, less magic, just less health, and speaking of less health...
Yeah, that's going to be the catch. Beyond going to use the flash to get himself out. Stand United comes in, but he's not going to be enough. Shen left on the bottom side. Kuma has to flash very last minute to get him out of the way of the Disintegration Ray. Wufei, he's just going to wander himself back down again. No teleport to come in from ADD at all, and just happy to give up on Beyond.
No tank supports, these vision missions get very difficult. Who on MVP is able to put down a deep ward to find the Zac, to find the Ornn? The question is, well, only Trundle. Trundle dies even through that big shield coming through from the Shen. And that's the tricky part, as we said, if MVP want to win, it's mid-game fights with the Karna shields and knowing where Zac is. Getting that information on Zac, getting tabs on Zac, that's a whole different ball game to actually make happen.
Well, and now we've got Beyond actually picking up the support item here as well. Targon's Brace already there, and the quest has been completed, so he will actually be a warding jungler.
It's been a thing that's becoming more and more common. At the end of the day, the big separation between the LCK and other regions wasn't so much mechanics as the years went on. It was that ability to play the macro game, and specifically warding. Junglers not having wards is a thing that they want to avoid. Going down the relic line, that's a unique way, especially with Bandit removed, but given that the jungler a lot of the times just rolls in the lane and helps push, they can pick up some of the stacks towards 500 gold quest doing that.
And you can see the quest has already been completed here by Beyond, so double banner of command coming in for MVP, and really does feel super supportive from everyone else other than Pilot.
Does feel like this is something that will be competitive only, though, because I know a lot of people watch competitive and want to learn things about solo queue. You don't do as much pushing with your lanes. You get insulted and flamed for pushing lanes in solo queue, but you need wards in competitive, and this is the way you can do it, just given the more communicative nature of competitive play.
Well, as things have actually stood out now, it's not a lot of deep vision available for MVP. You saw that mission that Beyond went on, but hasn't been able to put too many wards on past the river. Still only one turret that's fallen down this game, and that gold lead is still exactly the same as it was 10 minutes ago. Cloud Drake falls down. That is going to be a big difference here for MVP, having 3 dragons.
And we have an item that's just the same way as it was 4 years ago. Australia's Reverie is picked up by Morgana.
Oh, yeah.
Could be picked up by Karma as well. Karma very, very flexible. Feels like every item with any AP on it looks pretty tempting.
Yep.
Pushing through the mid lane. They don't have that deep vision, but they will spot Zac on some control wards behind them.
Yep. Very good control. The kidnap is going to come in, but it's more used defensively. Skuma gets out with the elastic slingshot. Beyond did actually invest the ultimate in that. Subjugate was used on Kuma, but it's an ult for an ult, and otherwise not too much is going to come of it.
Small problem is that the only way they really get value out of the Trundle we mentioned, the Subjugate into the Pillar, is if Everate commits, because they don't really have any other CC going on there. Varus ultimate, probably not going to work. The E from the Vel'Koz situational. They kind of want the enemy to initiate to get value out of Trundle. It didn't happen, and thus they still push through mid. They still get the turret. Very, very much a slow and steady game for MVP, but breaking mid lane gets them the sort of vision from minions that the wards have so far not been able to.
Yeah, and gives them some control to move up and get that deep vision down as well. You can see already able to get some wards over the other side of the river. Top side here as the Baron has been alive for about 6 minutes. Could be an option here for MVP. They want to try and get it done.
Hope we get a flip on the gold values to kind of understand where the Kleptomancy has been this game. ADD, sadly, compared to Flandre, is not going for snowball damage.
Yeah.
It's going for snowball tankiness, manner of command, into situational health and magic resist.
See what that Giant's Belt is going to turn into as well.
We're just in this really awkward spot where we've already outlined that MVP can't get the vision to make more aggressive plays, and Everate feel behind, licking their wounds a bit and saying, well, Kai'Sa could do with 2 more items. So they're just for now farming. That means the game state's not changing. Baron is not being put together. It's going to be a lot about teamfight execution this game, even if it isn't quite the 7-tank game we had in the second game of the LCK final.
Yeah, and actually, I wanted to talk to you about, you mentioned getting items onto the Kai'Sa. Where do her sort of item spikes come in? Is it after the Essence Reaver, or do you need an Infinity Edge afterwards in order to do the big damage as the Kai'Sa? Like, where do you think the time really is?
It's always situational. She's so situational in terms of build. She's kind of what every AD carry player craves every other champion is, because every other champion is just, yep, IE PD or IE seal item into this. Whereas she really can play around with first what you evolve into what build you go. She's predicting extended team fights, and with Karma's support, it's a good read by going to the Hurricane, which means the Supercharger. It's on pretty close to a 0 cooldown if you're auto-attacking in team fights. It's a lot about evolves. It's what you're focusing on. So you just have to kind of put the numbers together. You actually need to rewrite down the AD and attack speed numbers to know where she's at. I believe very, very close to the evolve. BF sword short, Essence Reaver short of the Q evolve. Doesn't have the attack speed yet either. So actually no evolve on E or Q 27 minutes in.
Wow, okay. Would have thought that
actually,
that attack speed evolved. Yeah,
with the Hurricane, the attack speed is there. I misread that. Needed to have the entire Hurricane. Just to seal, not enough. It's top
There's
lane.
the flash in. Yes, Sun's in trouble. Disintegrated as the kill does go over to Pilot. They'll get rid of the last remaining outer turret and MVP. Wow, that was a turn on. Pilot investing the flash.
They see on bot lane and they just think movement speed is enough and they can get in and out before the Zac could possibly react. Could this mean Baron? MVP is clearly saying yes.
Well, Ever8 winners, they did at least understand that that was probably where they're going to go, but the Ornn does have to make his way up. Teleport is going to be invested as ADD, just trying to play point guard. They do manage to disengage as MVP, still relatively high health bars, but with Ian at half health and Max especially at half health, they are going to get themselves out. Hybrid now with some spare time. The outer turret of the mid lane will be what Ever8 are able to get for successfully defending the Baron.
Baron damage decent if the Varus is hitting it, but Secure is not fantastic. So just back away. Don't see anything happen there. Doesn't mean they get the mid lane turret though through all of this. Ever8 winners against the run of play. Now Ever8 going on the invade
down
as well.
So Red Buff is going to get very confused. The Brambleback walking around the Pillar of Filth. Beyond will be able to at least line that one up for Pilot, who takes it away relatively easily. 3 items now available for the Varus. Hybrid getting that cheeky Vampiric Scepter instead of going straight for the Essence Reaver. Unless he's building towards like a Death's Dance or something, that'd be hilarious.
There's always the chance, Atlas, that Death's Dance does build out of the Caulfield's Warhammer and the Vampiric Scepter. We'll wait and see if that's the choice. Does mean she can skirmish super well, the Kai'Sa, and potentially lifesteal tank through a fight.
Yep, Q does actually a lot of healing with that item as well. Means that you don't pop quite as easily.
And I did see at least one game in the Challengers playoffs where Hybrid went Death's Dance. We'll wait and see if that's confirmed. The Nationals Tooth, that was a Ruler and I'm a Cutie Pie special that we haven't seen so much in competitive play. You get the Gathering Storm confirmation. It's the 80 carries. It's all about the 80 carries.
Yep.
It's patch 8.6.
Yep, 8.6. Welcome, everyone. That is exactly what you're going to be seeing. BF Sword now, speaking of which, on top of Pilot. So he's got a lot of damage. And there's the Death's Dance. So I'm glad that we figured that one out.
Does mean that Q and E now going to be evolved. Probably going to be no W evolve, but not as necessary compared to the core. There's a lot of damage here from Hybrid, and he also cannot really be dove when it comes to team fights. But he's not going to be dove with a team fight like this. MVP, honestly, the way they want to play a fight is that Zac jumps in, they pillar behind him, ult him, and try to kill him with the movement speed before anything else happens. It's the sort of game where you feel unkillable Zac with passive up. You can die super, super fast if you're 500-600 units away from your team.
Yeah, and it's actually really interesting. Ian's gone towards the Rabbidan's Death Cap as item number 3. He's got a hell of a lot of AP, which doesn't necessarily follow the script of let's build up Pilot. It's not build all of the supportive items with things like the Athenes and things like the Ardent Sensor.
But it does follow my script of an enemy Zac jumps in, no one takes any damage from the initial burst from the enemy team, and you kill the Zac, then the team fight comp falls apart. So really they are focusing on reacting to Ever8 initiating. That's a mind game that Ever8 can initiate on too. They need to go two-pronged. They need to play smart. Maybe you just play the objective peel-off game, because if you just try to play in mid lane and launch Zac into the back line, everything MVP has done is to try to counter that Zac engage.
Well, now you can see both of the Banner of Commands have been utilized. MVP now just trying to put the screws in, see whether they can get position on the map, guarantee what they want to do. Okay, Kuma, it's going to get knocked up as lots of damage comes out of Max.
Wait and see if you can find a black shield in combat that lasts more than a second. You notice even there. Quickly taken away as we're seeing it engage.
Weave as well comes in as well as the Call of Forge God. Call of Forge God going a little bit wide, but that's a Fantastic flick back onto Pilot. Dangerous now for MVP as they're running out of damage. It's a double kill now for Ever8 Winners as Hybrid cleans up the last one onto Beyond. And does this mean Baron for the Ever8 Winners?
Oh man, the Weavers were so good, Atlas, because there was no flash onto Pilot. They walked up, and for once they're taken down. They have great Baron damage. The secure here is going to be pretty 50-50. Even Max can damage over the wall.
Yeah, Ian with a lot of AoE options as well as ADD looking to try and get his way in. Zach well and truly out of the fight now.
Yeah, with no passive, he can't rely on his Smite Finger. He's so squishy. They're trying again anyway.
Yep, Sun trying to do battle with Ian, but he's just so healthy. Wufei's going to make his way in as ADD is in trouble. Hybrid, just killer instinct right on top of him. That's going to be the Shen falling, and Ever8 Winners. It looks dicey, it looks scary, but they're once again on the Baron as Kuma, Black Shield comes in and he gets sped up.
Ian could steal this over the wall, it's possible.
Yeah, Max could as well, he's got a lot of damage, but no, it's Hybrid that grabs it. No smite to come in from Kuma, and you heard the crowd. Everyone was a bit worried about that one, Ever8.
And Ever8 certainly were too, that's why they went for the extra pick. We'll watch through all the madness, the Weaver's Wall, the geometry, beautiful stuff, and Pilot knows this is not his day. No Captain Jack escapes in a fight like this. Really well engineered, multiple pronged with the Weaver's Wall. Beautiful from Ever8 to get the first kills. The Baron, that was a crapshoot. They do get it overall, and that's the important thing to take away.
Yep, not going to be able to grab anywhere near the gold lead just yet. Well, actually, it's near, but not able to get it over the line. Still 700 gold, but now the turrets should start falling for Ever8 Winners, and it feels like they've got over a hump. As Kuma, remember he doesn't have the passive, lost it in the last fight.
He's actually very squishy to magic damage if you notice as well. He has no magic resist in the build outside of the Merc trait.
Yeah, and only a Warden's Mail actually as far as that armor is concerned, but remember Pilot does a lot of magic damage. It's almost like an interesting decision, but Infinity Edge was picked up, so the Varus is doing a lot of AD as well as the magic.
Banner of Command is down. Double QSS available also for Ever8. No gold lead to speak of, though.
Yeah, absolutely none. Inner turret is going to fall down. ADD still splitting on the top side.
Oh, look at the wall.
Yeah, another weave as well, just to make sure no one can do anything. The knock-up not going to land there from Max either, as they're desperately trying to deal with these minions. Call of the Forge God gets another pick off onto Pilot, but this time he's not going to die. Stand United came in from ADD, and they are going to be able to defend this turret. Actually, no, they're not. It's going to be the Ornn somehow getting kill credit for that one from a million miles away.
Banner of Command, I think, probably got it there, but man, the Weaver's Wall again from Sun. Beautiful. Force the defensive flash out of Max. He's one of the people they have to respect. He does relevant damage. Pile on here. No gold lead for the Klepto Shen. Not working out Flandre style in this game on the bot side. Picking up the Cloud Drake, just getting the Elder to spawn. They'll be frustrated that the Elder doesn't spawn until 41 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Still a minute and a half now on this Baron buff. Inner turrets are the options on the top and mid. But that open inhibitor could be a big problem now for MVP, especially if Ever8 Winners can get themselves into a good siege scenario. Try and start up some of these fights once again when their big ultimates are once again back off cooldown.
And smartly for Ever8, the fights haven't been about the Zac. Honestly, they've been about the Weaver's Wall from Sun. And that means that the plan of just trying to make the Zac die instantly to the Subjugate and all the damage amp available from the Ziggs Convergence, they're not working for MVP. They're being played around the map. They're working against the Baron buff for at least one more minion wave. Tricky to execute for Ever8, but they're doing it well.
Yeah, they really, really are. Hybrid as well, stepping up. We mentioned the fact that he died a couple of times early on in this match, but now 3-2-3, getting himself into a great position, and he's been darting around these fights. The Death Dance almost feels like a stroke of genius as, okay, Call the Forge God, gonna get the knock up onto Ian, but he's not really a target that they're looking for. They're just trying to buy space to take down this inner turret in the mid lane, and they will be able to do so. Sun gets the autos in, Wufei another time. Going to be able to take that one down. Banner of Command helping him out there as well. Hybrid, he was just hanging out top lane, and Pilot does need to be careful. The 1v1, you wouldn't really give it to the Varus, I don't think.
No, 1v1, certainly the Kai'Sa, Vayne-esque in her ability to 1v1, but also just consider that we just saw a Siege mid lane with 4 champions and 1 top, and the 1 top was the AD carry, because Kai'Sa, in the true sieging sense of grouping with her team, not very useful at 500 range.
Yeah, well, exactly. 525 now on 8.6.
That's true.
Doing okay. Doing okay.
In the top lane against Varus, she has great all-in options if her W ever hits, so...
And it's so non-committal as well, you know, just throw it out and, oh, do I want to kill you?
And the great synergy with the Ornn is that Ornn does hard CC from a screen away, and Killer Instinct procs off ally CC as well if it is hard CC. There was a lot of threat. They didn't have red side jungle controlled at MVP on their own red side, and even as the Varus, you're always completely scared that the Ornn horn will be sounded and then potentially just be assassinated by Death's Dance Kai'Sa.
Well, she's now got an Infinity Edge as well, so very, very frightening. QSS on both sides for the AD carries. They actually have reached themselves some parity, and speaking of parity, Hybrid's caught up. He was down 80 CS, something like that earlier on, but has since had some time to himself, and MVP just feels like they're a little bit over the hill when it comes to what this comp can do. Black Shield on top of the Zac, gets the bomb, gets the double kidnap. The knockup's there right in the air as well as Max. He's an afterthought as he falls down. Good subjugate comes in from beyond to keep him alive with the Stand United on top of it. But they already lose one, and Max is very important to this composition.
But isn't it amazing that they're using the Black Shield on Zac, a champion who has the ability to go untargetable, just to guarantee that the Elastic Slingshot registers. They know it's not useful on the backline. It'll be burned too early. Really nicely done. They get down Max. There's the Weaver's Wall on point again from Sun, and this should be mid lane inhibitor turret.
Yep, they are going to be able to do this one. Teleport is going to come in as ADD pokes his head back through, but Pilot, he's playing frontline, doesn't want to be doing that as now he has to get himself back. Inspire shields him up, but MVP should be losing this inhibitor. Bottom lane, they could rotate over there as well if they wanted to, but MVP, they don't want to give this one up. In goes ADD, a lot of damage from Pilot now on the front line. And Everett winners, they're going to get a lot of damage on the inhibitor, but importantly for MVP fans, they're not going to be able to take it down.
But for MVP, they've been unable to do anything proactive for a long time in this game. The draft wasn't as much around proactivity, but Everett have read their counter-engage well and have not given them areas to shine. Baron spawns in a minute. We're still about 3 minutes away from the Elder. MVP are not out of this game. We're close to 6 items on Pilot. But if the execution continues from Everett, looking so tricky for MVP to find a window back in.
Yeah, and Hybrid now on 6 items, and Mercurial Scimitar now completed, just to give him even more survivability and lifesteal. It's not going to be Kai'Sa on low health if he's going to be auto-attacking, I don't think. Even if he's able to get a Q into a fight, it's going to do a lot of healing, especially with that Runan's Hurricane. See, going invisible running up this lane and easily clears out all of these minions. We do have 30 seconds left on the Baron. And MVP, that's where they really want to make their stand. Beyond hasn't had a great game so far, and this really could be redemption for him if he can pick up the big, important buff.
It's actually really important as Sun, speaking of importance, spotted that red ward that was on the way to clearing the minions top side, because MVP have not been in position to put down vision that far up the map in the 6 or 7 minutes since the last Baron spawn. That's the only deep vision they have, as Kuma finding it tricky to get too much vision of his own.
Yep, Black Shield does come down, but now we've got the crossways. Okay, that was an odd one.
He couldn't use his ultimate because he was knocked in the air, and the first time he could, his mouse in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Amusing. ADD's going to push through all this, and it's going to rush Everett a little bit.
Yeah, the classic split push Shen on the bottom side of the map has his good friend Banner of Command minion down here as well.
The Bannon. No Trinity Force, though, sadly. Come on, ADD. You've got one more item to build.
Looks like it will be Gargoyle's Stoneplate, just to make you sad. Unless he goes for Guardian Angel. That sounds a little bit more fun, at least.
Good use of side lanes here from MVP. Something they were getting a little bit better on as the season went on. Remember, they started the season on a massive loss streak.
Yeah.
Only got it together as the season went on, and would have felt hard done by for sure to be involved in the relegation. They were not a no-hoper like Kongnu Monster inevitably ended up being in the spring season. So using their lane assignment, using their Shen. No teleport advantage though for ADD. It means that Wu Fei can go bot.
Pilot now feeling a lot better. Ardent Sensei has been completed onto Ian. Only one more item for him. We'll see whether he actually decides to go for a Void Staff so he does a little bit more relevant damage in these fights, or whether he's going to go for another more supportive option. It's not likely that you get a 6th item, Athene's Unholy Grail or something like that from Ian, so still interested to see what he is going to build.
I think it depends a lot on gold values. If you can buy it straight up now, you buy it and then sell it later for a bigger AP stack.
Yeah.
So see where the Athenes is at. You are against a Merlinomicon. It's a little bit less value on the healing that comes through from the Athenes. The game does stall a little bit. There is a vision advantage purely from going down the Targon's line for Beyond on the side of MVP. So actually getting your control wards in the right spot, being in a place where you feel strong enough to stop Baron, that's tricky is, well, Hybrid can't really get any stronger unless the boots are gone.
Yeah, he needs to go full Teddy on this one, I think. Fountain Laser needs to be operational.
They're going for the sneaky Baron with their AD carry not even there.
Well, Max is going to be able to check it. Kuma has helped take it down to about half health.
Trundle's not there yet.
The best way to win a smite battle is to
DPS
be
out
the
the
only
enemy jungle.
smite that's in there. And yeah, okay, Beyond not going to be able to get in. Dark Binding was perfect. Exactly right, indicating that to me, Papa Smithy, as Elastic Slingshot gets Kuma out of there safely. So second Baron for Ever 8 Winners, and this late game has been all about the Challenger team.
I gotta say, Ever 8 Winners' ability to take Baron is above some of our LCK teams. They're really smart. That was a creative Baron. The Weaver's Walls, we've already complimented them. They want to at least put some doubt into MVP to stop the Elder being DPS down.
Yeah, we've got Call of the Forge God available here as well. The wall will actually fall down, but you can wait for the horn. You know Wufei's ready to throw that one out. Hybrid going down relatively low. Some Honey Fruit will get him back up to health, though, as now MVP. They're going for the fight here down bottom side, but Sun, he's there. All of the CC is beautiful. The double kidnap. Now the Call of Forge God. Knockups are everywhere, and Ever 8 Winners are destroying this fight. Hybrid tearing them all up. It's a double kill for the Talia, and they are super excited, wanting to take down game number 1 in this best of 3.
Ever 8 Winners trying to make it good when they need to. Couldn't even make it in the old system. Finished 5th. They already ran through the playoffs promotions. Now they're here in the promotion relegation tournament, and they're going to win game 1.
Yep. Hybrid doing so much damage, and they're certainly going to win. It was an ace in the end. Ever 8 Winners they've got a few minions, they've got a Baron buff, and now they've got a game 1 victory. And MVP, you mentioned the fact that Beyond shaved his head. They're terrified of being relegated out of the LCK, and now they're 1 game away from that being the reality.
Atlas, we could have our relegation match today, our losers match, be MVP versus Kongdu. Both LCK teams. That has never happened in the history of the promotion tournament. But Ever 8 Winners are turning it on in the business end of the season. They had no business really being here. They surprised everyone by beating second place Dumb1 Gaming, by beating Team Battle Comics in the final. And now they looked comfortably better than MVP in game 1. We knew about the stress on MVP beyond shaving his head. The stress is not going away. They're down 1-0, and it was a comfortable win for Ever 8.
Yeah, they just weathered the storm. I felt like the draft, as you mentioned earlier on, it made a whole lot of sense. The backline dive was good, but it was how they executed. It was Sun getting the seismic shoves in exactly the right positions, the layering of CC in these team fights. We're going to have a look at it again. Just look at this. Almost all the buttons land from Ever 8 Winners.
And they only needed 1 button to win the team fight. Wait for it. There it is. Going golden. The stasis effect baited them forward, and then Killer Instinct follow-up with the Black Shield. It looks like a set play. The quarterback lobs it in, and the ball in this case is Hybrid, who has 6 items, a damn on upgrade. The Molten Edge rips through MVP, and while Pilot can just laugh at the one person he takes down in the Morgana, it doesn't matter as Ever 8 win.
Yep. Absolutely brilliant stuff for Ever 8 Winners. The team that we were probably expecting the least of moving into this promotion tournament. Already the upsets moving in. Remember, best of 3 though, so still MVP with the opportunity to turn this around, and you expect that game 2 will be a different story. Certainly starting off exciting here. I mean, it's one of the earliest days of LCK that we've ever had. Thankfully, game number 1 really woke us up, and we're ready for all of these best of 3s today now. It's exciting stuff, guys, but short break, and then we'll be back with game number 2.